What's going on, people? It's your man, the White B. Once again, big shout out to my doggy Matty Bell for coming through and boosting up the coins. So, bash, we got an update regarding Danny D, Minimus Duquitius, Use Lessius, and his trainer Don Charles. I'm hearing on the grapevine from people close to the situation that Donny Charles has been given he's been handed his P45, man. That's what's happened here. Yeah. Obviously, you know the YB. He signs on every Monday. So I spoke to one of my connects down at Department for Work and Pensions, and they told me, yeah, we got this cat called Donald Charles. I don't know his first name, but you best believe it's Don Charles, man. He's signing on. At the end of the day, man, he need his unemployment check, man. That's what I've heard allegedly. Oh, anyway, let's get to the meat on the bones here with what's been going on, okay? I'm going to set the scene. Bear with me here. We're going to do a bit of scene setting. You best believe it. So, should Don Charles be signing on? Yeah? Should he be sacked? Listen. I think John Fury should get in contact with Don Charles. Because John Fury, don't forget, winter last year, it was a cold winter for John Fury. He got sacked out of Tyson Fury's camp, but he's back on now. Yeah, he had that Grotto gig for November, December. I think a bit of January as well. I think John Fury covered the January sales at Morecambe Grotto. So listen, there's work out there, man. The economy is dynamic. End of the day, yeah. Not sure what roles do you think Don Charles could play. Big round looking Nick. I don't know, man. There's no doubt doors, man. Although clubs have kind of shut down, right? So I don't think you'll get any door work anymore. Anyway, we're getting off topic here. Let's set the scene here. Frank Warren comes out and lets slip, and we knew this anyway. It was already being speculated, but the camp is a shambles. Yeah, and Don Charles, unfortunately, no one's perfect, but he's a bit of a side man. I'm gonna play this clip from Frank Warren. Here we go.
You know what you're going to do, but he's got to prove himself right. There are other things that happen which are not. I would not use as an excuse, and there aren't any excuses because everyone knew what they had to do and what time the walk time was. It was always known that the walk was going to be around 9:45 because there's a curfew at the stadium, and he could have done with being there a bit earlier, but he wasn't. But that's that, and I'm not saying it. These are things that you have to learn. These are things that you have to do. Usyk got there. Give yourself time to prepare and, not have to, do everything at his own speed because he's a consummate professional.
Okay, so what's important to note here is we've already heard Simon Jordan talk sports say Danny D was rushed through. The point is, in this interview with Coogan, Frank Warren, he brings it up on his own volition. Coogan didn't say, was Danny late? And then Frank's like, Frank literally goes into basically his excuse list as such, for a lack of a better word, or lack of a better term. And Frank's like, yeah, well, they've got to learn on this. And he turned up late. And I've heard he was more or less there about an hour and 10, 15 minutes before, which is ridiculous. That's way too soon. I've also heard that his dad dropped him off like a mile from the place and Daniel had to walk in, and it's just a bit shambolic. Now, how does this reflect on Don Charles? This is the problem, and these aren't my words. I've never worked in boxing, but this is the problem. Dom Ingle and Brendan Ingle talk about this, who are obviously experienced trainers. I think even maybe to some extent Shane McGuigan, or certainly the McGuigan family. You can't have parents in sport, yeah? If you're a trainer, if Stan Dubois is a trainer, be a trainer. Do it your way. Like Teofimo Lopez, and do it super duper messy, like the Teofimo Lopez family. Just messy with it, right? Just do that. What you shouldn't do is employ someone for their services. Well, there's dual responsibility here. Stan Dubois has responsibility. Yeah? What's that cat? What's that Jackson? Something Jackson. What's the Jackson's dad's name? Jackson's daddy. Yeah? Let's find Jackson's daddy's name. Was it Jack Jackson? I'm not sure. Michael Jackson's father name. Let's have a look right here. Joe Jackson. Yeah? Listen, Joe Jackson. Listen, Stan Joe Jackson, yeah? Step off, bro. Step off, man. This guy's 30 years old right now. And if I was Danny D, I'll be looking at my... I'll be wondering where them coins are at, man. Yeah, that's what I'll be doing, allegedly. I don't know, I'm not there. But still, if my name was Danny D, yeah, I'll be, hey, Poppy, where them coins at, man? I've been working. You know what these fathers are like, allegedly. They'll be in the pocket and I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, oh, what you be? Danny D's got a big yard. Has he? Is he living there? Who got the ownership? Yeah, that's what I'll be wanting to know. But anyway, Mike Tyson's had these kind of problems as well. It's all well and good. Anyway, we're digressing here. It's not the point. That's irrelevant, to be fair. As far as Don Charles is concerned, the father has responsibility, but as a trainer, and we've all got, the problem is we've all got to make money, but it's what you'll sell your soul to do. You've got to have principles. I'm trying to think of recent examples. There are a few. Oh, Shane McGuigan's a good example. Anthony Johnston, AJ, aka AJ, aka Skins, some people say. Hanging out the back of Skins is what actually some people say, but whatever, you get the point. AJ, okay? AJ prospected Shane McGuigan for a training gig. At the time, AJ was hanging out the back of Angel Fernandez, Fernando Alonso's cousin, right? Shane McGuigan said, I'm happy to train you, AJ, but if you want to do all the extra shit with extra dudes, you can do that somewhere else. And that didn't work for AJ at the time, so listen, Shane McGuigan could have said, no, I'll take anything, I just want to be close to AJ and get my 5-10% on AJ back. He didn't. And I respect that, right? Because to be fair, Shane McGuigan is a young trainer, but maybe that's a good thing. It means you've got more earning potential. Don Charles, he's felt scorned and slighted. So this really has been his first big money opportunity. And it's looking like he has no control over the camp whatsoever. Daniel Dubois has always downplayed his role. Dubois turning up late, having these weirdo parties with a bunch of old heads. And not listen, it would have made a difference. But from Don Charles' point of view, I'm not sure anyone. Daniel Dubois, he seems cucked to his daddy. End of the day, so it's not going to matter who trains him. Anyone, it's not like Daniel Dubois won't be able to pick his own trainer. Bottom line, it'll be Stan picking him. So Stan's not going to pick no one with a backbone. Although they did work with the McGuigans for a period of time, but like we know, it was a period of time. And Caroline Dubois didn't want to leave and wanted to stay there, which shows you it's almost like if Stan don't think he can get his oar in, he's not interested all of a sudden. That said, Stan Dubois did leave after the controversial fight with Kevin Lorraine. So this is the problem. We're not there. We don't know. People, there's often no smoke without fire, right? I think it's probably fair to assume that Stan Dubois is kind of like puffing the 90s, man. He's probably too much in the video. That's not the point, though, as far as Don's concerned. Don, yeah, he talks a lot, but at the end of the day, he's cooked. Don don't... Yeah? On fight night, hey, man, my fighter needs to be there at this time. I don't care what old dusties you got. And better yet, isn't it customary for a trainer to arrive? I think the trainer probably arrives before the fighter. But I've seen trainers arrive with a fighter before. So maybe, I think Don wasn't late. Don said himself he got there early and was checking it out and casing the joint kind of thing. But Dubois, just a bit of a mess, isn't it? In the corner work, you've got Dubois looking out here and Stan's out there and Don's looking like a bit of a muggins. So I don't think it's necessarily him being sacked. I don't think it's necessarily a function of his own actions. It's probably what he didn't do. I'm not sure it's even possible, but he should have had a bit more respect for himself. But listen, I don't know how well Don's doing. Yeah? And if someone said to me, why be his 500 large per camp, for example, it's probably at least that, right? It's probably fair to assume he's getting between half a mil and a mil per camp. What would I do? Would I sit there and cuck myself? It's not my legacy at the end of the day. If he gets weighed in, right? If Minimus Duquitius gets weighed in again, that's on him and his corny daddy, right? I'll take the bread and say nothing. But I think the issue comes when Don in particular, he's quite religious, allegedly, right? So if he's religious, it should say, there should be some doctrine in there that says, hold the line. If it's not right, it's not right. And the way he's been treated, for me, ain't really too right. And he hasn't laid the law down, biblically speaking. Yeah? End of the day, he's sold out for the shekels, the money changers. That's what he's done. I'll do the same, but that's the point. I'm not religious, right? If you're banging the drum on religion, you should have been said, hey man, Danny and Stan, you tighten up, man. We ain't doing this out here. You're making me look silly. And it's all a bit of a, it's all over the place. Trainers traditionally have a lot of control. Who was it I was speaking to? I'm sorry, hearing from on YouTube. Who was it? I think it was Domingo again. He was saying he'd make sure the hotels were booked right next to the fight arena, so that you don't have to get. AJ was late before the Dubois fight, allegedly, so we book a hotel right next to the thing. So on fight morning, we wake up and we're right there. Yeah, that makes sense to me. You don't need to be in a swanky Airbnb 10 miles across London when you know it's going to be hectic traffic. Why do that for? Where's the upside there? Oh, but I want to look good on Instagram in the meantime. You can buy, I'm sure there must be some swanky kind of penthouse hotel room somewhere close by. And if there's not, just suck it up for a day. We're going to war, man. We're locking in. That's what we're doing. But Don don't seem to have, he don't, listen, he don't even have autonomy when the fight's going on. He seems to have no autonomy. Not before the fight, not immediately before, not during. And really, he's the only one who's been running media. So I feel like they've sent him out here. The only guy we've heard from is Don. And that makes us, well, it gives us a nice segue now. To get to his bars, which kind of link into this topic in my opinion. Here we go.
Point, and again, it must to Spencer's point, and again, it must be said he's not the only one echoing this sentiment.
Sorry, I've known this kid since he was 13 years old. Like, he makes it public.
Yeah,
This
is why I had to bring his name.
He boxed for the same amateur club as I did. I was the senior. Him and Danny Williams were the juniors at my club. So someone who actually knows me, not saying he should be pro me and not speak his mind, to the degree he's hoping and wishing I should get my P45. My son showed it to me. My son wants to retaliate. I said, no, my spirits is very strong. Of course, my background, I've been prepped for this. From the minute I was born to the things I've went through in the horrible, terrible civilian war in my country.
To Spencer's point, and again, it must be said.
Listen. Okay, this title was... I got cucked by the title. I didn't listen to it. It said Don Charles responds to calls for him to be sacked. Listen, I don't know what he went through, but it makes it even more of a valid point. For all you went through, yeah, allegedly, I wasn't there, so I don't know what he did or didn't go through. I don't believe a lot of it. Listen, I don't know, but a lot of these internet man, they all have this great war story. But anyway, he might have, that's probably more about me than not believing him. I don't believe most shit here on the internet, man. A lot of people gassing, man. But anyway, assume he did go through something way back when, right? I think he might have been living under Idi Amin or something like that. No, I'm not laughing, but you get the point, man. Listen. Yeah? It makes it even more. Because you went through that, you shouldn't take no shit from Stan. Yeah? Say, listen, Stan, I'll put you on that treadmill for sure. Yeah? Never mind the holy water. Stan, I'll stick your ass on a treadmill, man. You keep barking off and getting in my business, man. Stay in your lane. Then again, it wasn't really Stan's fault. Frank Warren said, oh, Stan, get in the mix. And success breeds a certain way of doing things. Stan, to be fair to him, I don't know, behind the scenes he might have been a bit too involved, but in public view, in the Joe Joyce fight, didn't even see him there. Yeah? Didn't even see him in the cut. I think Dubois was being trained out of the Peacock gym, Martin Bowers at that time. You didn't see Stan Dubois in the mix. So, life's complicated, right? Stan starts getting in the mix in the Jerome Miller fight, it goes well. The Hrgovic fight, it goes well. The AJ fight, it goes well. Trending up. Stan's probably thinking at that point, everything I touch turns to gold. I'm going to have parties, right? I'm going to get there late and just rock up and one of them ones. Yardman time. That's what I think Stan got a bit of Yardman time in him, man. Yeah? Yeah, it's Yardman time. That's what that was. How are you going to turn up? 8:45 before you know it for you. That's Yard o'clock, man. That's what that was. So it might not be that Stan's turned into a control freak. It could just be an explosion of bad luck, and it wouldn't have mattered. He could have been there at 4 o'clock the night before. It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. But now it's happened. I think for me, regardless of all them other factors, for me, and I said this in my Patreon video before the fight, I'm not impressed. All them other factors, yeah, we can blame Stan for, and or we can blame Don Charles for. Don Charles for not taking responsibility and owning it and saying it's my way or the highway, and Stan Dubois for maybe getting a bit too involved. That to one side though, ultimately my opinion is he does need to be sacked. Not because I don't like him, not because I want to see him signing on, not because misery likes company, but technically speaking, even not, listen, I'm a sucker for hype. I see that in myself, end of the day. But because I'm a sucker for hype, I did say I wasn't impressed with his technical improvements. I wasn't seeing it. He's like this still. I've been saying that. Now, I didn't put two and two together that being like this meant he was going to get punched up because I was lost in the sauce. But I did say that. Fact. He's like this. Still like this. He's like a big stiff idiot. Bottom line. And you can't... I mean, how is it cliche? Chin down. Hands up, elbows in. These are all the basics. These are the basics, man. You can't have a guard like Dubois' guard was down here. It's like his right hand was Ryan's chest. His elbows were flared. And even if you don't mind body shots, all right then, we'll stick them up here then. Have your body wide open, right? I haven't seen, honestly, the Hrgovic fight, the AJ fight, all of them. There's been no technical improvement. Now, to be fair, there's very little evidence. Well, that's not necessarily true, actually. But in general, people don't tend to change at 30 years old. And if you're leaky deaky and gappy and wide, you're probably going to be like that forever. But I don't personally believe in that narrative. I do believe you can be drilled into doing things correctly. Just bad habits, that's all they are. Bad habits, bad stiff habits. They'll die hard, but you can drill someone out of them. I'm convinced of it. I haven't personally done it, but at the end of the day, it's not working, man. This whole thing here is not working. Dubois doesn't seem to know what he's doing defensively. It's not like some fighters. They box with their hands more looser, but they've got the coordination to roll, and they're doing a bit of, you know what I mean? They know they're in coordination. Dubois has his hands gappy. He gets hit. He'll then dip at the waist, move his back foot out. He's doing 3 or 4 things at once. Yeah? Move your feet, or move your head, or keep your hands on your head. You shouldn't really need to be doing a whole bunch of them at once, unless, for example, when Beterbiev's pressing Bivol might stick his hands here and he's on his bike. That's understood though. Dubois kind of like, he gets hit, he's a bit confused, he's dipping at the waist, he's stepping his back foot out, and it looks really... You never see Bivol doing that, right? And you can say, oh, Bivol's that good. I don't think... Basics, man. Hands stuck on your head. Focus on your opponent. Don't look at the floor. Hands on your head, look at your opponent, and move out the way if you need to. Someone as big as Dubois, I said this before the fight, I'm walking into them if I'm under attack. That's what I'm doing. I want to be on top of him. Pause. I don't want to be on his end. I don't want to have a midget chasing me around and I'm all nervous and scared. I'm the Beterbiev. Now, you 6 are good, no doubt about it, but we can have a fight from here. That's how Bivol and Beterbiev looked. Bivol, he won the boxing part, but Beterbiev was the one causing real problems, right? That's how it should have looked. But Dubois got no base. So when he's under attack, he don't know what he's doing. He's completely out of sorts. The cleat, he can't fight on the back foot. I don't see why you couldn't, though. Just hold your feet. Bend your knees, suck in here, and catch and counter. Oh, it sounds easier than it is. Listen, you're never going to be able to hit Usyk if the minute he hits you, you're looking out the back door and you're all loose as a goose. That's when you're never going to be able to hit him. And I think that was half the reason Dubois was falling short. Every time Usyk came into him, Dubois didn't have a stable base. He wasn't leaning in, looking to counter. He's kind of like, and then trying to cook off go for the side. That's what I saw, man. That's what I saw. Because there's no way, if Usyk can hit you, clean, there's no way you shouldn't be able to hunker down and dig some into the body, man. That's what I feel. And it sounds easier than it is. But something like that, there should have been a base there. Dubois' base shouldn't have been getting hit with everything, right? He should have had a base here. Why is that super high level? Is it? I don't know. But for a Dubois not a pressure fighter, but that's why he can't fight on the back foot. There's no point being a boxer puncher, because the minute he gets backed up, he doesn't know what he's doing. So he has to be a pressure fighter. He can't fight on the back foot. So forget about it. Hands on my head, and I'm walking into him, and maybe I'll get knocked out. But you get knocked out. How many people get knocked out with their hands on their head? Really? Go on. How many? What was the last guy you saw get knocked out with his hands on his head? Leaning in. It's less likely than this, right? So anyway, the point is, Don's got to go. I'm not seeing the technical improvements. I haven't seen no improvements. He's the same fighter, and they've had a few camps now. We gave him credit. Oh, he fights harder now. I think Usyk is a tricky. I get it. I empathise with Dubois. It's one thing when you feel like you're half in a fight. It's when you don't feel. It's when you feel like he can hit you and you can't get him back. It can be demoralising. But this is the fight game, and you're getting paid 70 million. So put your head down. Put your head right down and walk into him. Dubois didn't do that once. I didn't see Dubois walk into him when he's under attack. He'd be right on the end of Usyk's shots. Look at Fury. You can't go back against Usyk. In fact, early on, I think it was the first or second round, Fury's backing up. Usyk, whoop, boop, bowls the left hand over. Fury's eyes are spinning around. Round 9, the same thing. You can't have him. If Usyk's in the middle of the ring, he's having fun. That don't mean he won't have fun everywhere else as well, but I'd rather know where he's at, me personally. That's easy for me to say, but I don't want to be chased around the ring by a midget, man. I'd rather hold my feet. It's a bit like Canelo and Triple G. Different animals, but still, in the first fight, Canelo was kind of running and boxing to some extent. Canelo learned, I don't want to be on the end of his shots. I'm going to hold my feet and we're going to fight. And that kind of changed the balance. You can't let Usyk have his own way. Same with people at Opataya. You can't let them dictate the pace. Now that's not easy to do. Dubois could have tried to dictate the pace and then be out of gas or whatever, but there's certain fundamentals you have to apply, and he don't have them. And Don's had 2 years now. He hasn't got worse. He hasn't got better. He might have got a little bit worse. Could it be the fact Usyk's making him look that way? But Ergovic, that's what I'm saying. Ergovic can't punch. But if he could, Dubois would have been knocked out there and then. He took 70 right hands per round. Yeah? Oh, we're going to fix that. Did you fix it? You come in like this again. And I'm not a fan of teaching head movement if you're 30 years old and stiff, to be honest. I don't think there's... What are the chances of that? What are the chances you're going to see Dubois rocking and rolling with his head? Very remote, right? You've either, at 30 years old and a big stiff idiot, you've either got the head movement or you haven't. I'd just teach him this one, man. Caball's got a little bit of head movement, but in the main, chin down, through the letterbox, man. Right hand comes, you suck it in. And you're going to feel it, but it's not going to hit you clean. No man. Who was the last guy you saw get hit with a shot, sucked in here and got knocked out? I can't think of one example. Right. That's what Dubois needed to do. Fighting Beterbiev, similar. Golovkin was similar. the blueprint's out there, but Don's no good. End of the day, he's no good. He got lucky with the AJ fight. Yes, I was glazing him, but I did say his technical flaws, you're not improving. So I think it's a good shout for. Listen, if Dubois had got knocked out, but we could sit here and say, look, the technique is improved. He got unlucky. We can't say that though. You can look at some AJ fights. AJ under Derek James. What AJ was missing in that fight with Franklin was the ferocity, but his form, it looked like he had no ferocity at all. But it looked like he looked like he knew what he was doing, or half knew what he was doing, right? Then he got with Ben Davison, and he got carried away, bowls over Francis and Bonga, and he thinks he's the second coming of Muhammad. I'll hit you with one right hand and you'll spark out, and he's just loose as a goose. If it was, I'm trying to think, what boxers, even an old school man, George Foreman would be a bit looser, yeah. He wouldn't be like that, yeah. He'd be a bit looser, but he knew how to catch his hand up and he'd rock and roll and put his, you know what I mean? He'd have different looks and he knew what he was doing. Does that make sense? And he could take a shot. To be fair, his new age man can't take a shot, man. The estrogens just rotted all their central nervous system away. They can't take a pop. They can't. One pop and they're on. The old school man would take them pops all day and night. I've seen it, I'm sorry. The new age man, their nerves ain't the same. They've got their shot. The minute they come out, they're shot. One shot and it finishes them forever. You know. But the old school man knew more or less what they was doing. They weren't green to it. Yeah. These new age man look green. They look like they've never been hit. They never know what to do when a punch comes at them. And or when it does land, they're shocked like they've never been hit before. They stay hit. You see what I mean? Watch any of them old school fights. Watch Ike versus someone else pointed this out in the comments. I'm going to do a video on it soon. Watch Ike Ibuche versus Tua. Yeah? Watch that if you want to see people who know how to fight. These new age men don't know how to fight. They just don't. Haven't got a clue what they're doing. It's how it looks. The first thing that lands are like, fucking hell. That's what it's like. But I've watched these old school men sparring. I think maybe it's in the teaching. I don't think it's just the sparring. I think maybe it's in the teaching. Because Dubois wouldn't look that slick in sparring either, would he? To be fair. I think these new age trainers, they're all kind of stiff trainers. And even someone like Davison, who appears to be more of a looser trainer, they're loose but stupid with it. They're not loose rocking and rolling on the inside, are they? They're loose and just like, oh, I'm going to get you with the right hand. Like Wardley or what's his name? AJ. It's not loose, and you see what I mean? You've seen the old school man squabble, man. You've seen the old school heavyweight man squabble. They knew what they was doing. It didn't mean they didn't get knocked out, but you could just tell they knew what they was doing. And it'd take a lucky shot more time than it would be he's been hit once and he's on skates. Every time he gets hit once, he's on skates. Anyway, Don's got to go, man. I like Don, but they were sucking this Kieran Farrell off, but there's no improvements there. There's no improvements. That's the bottom line. Forget everything else, there's no improvements. Can Dubois be the second coming? No, he can't. But at 28, he might as well have another trainer now. I'm afraid. This run's come to an end. We haven't seen what we need to, and it's a cycle of life. End of the day, can someone else change him? Probably not, but let's see someone else in there with him. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, people.
Said he's not.
I think we've got one more link here, actually, right quick.
I'd like to see some people get hit with that shot he got hit with, and I'd like to see some people get hit with that shot he got hit with, and to even get up on the count. Okay, it was too late when he got up, as in he didn't make the count. There is such a thing, didn't make the count. And I'm glad he didn't make the count, because to get up from that second knockdown, and then if he fought on, and potentially, Usyk, obviously, the natural thing to do is to jump on him. And we won't be sitting here talking about Daniel Dubois. It would be, God forbid, he's ended up in hospital because he got up. He was too brave for him to satisfy the audience's thirst for blood, for it's, how can I put it? Their quest for like disaster. Yeah, God is great.
No, it's not a quest for disaster, mate. It's a quest of doing what you paid to do. That's what I'm saying. A lot of these weird. Listen, he did quit. Bottom line, based on historical standards, he jacked. He didn't want no more. Bottom line, based on what I've seen other men do, not myself, but I've seen other people do. He quit. He didn't want no more. That's his right to do that. At the same time, it's not a bloodlust. Yeah. Otherwise, where do you draw the line? What's stopping someone get popped with one shot? Because I've seen old school man. Their head gets twisted. They get hit with a big shot, and they're still in the fight, and or they go down, they get back up again. Hollifield, Burt Cooper, for example, that went back and forth a few times. They were big shots, no doubt, right? So it can be done. It can be done. And it was early on. People say, "Oh, Usyk was laying it all over him." It wasn't laying it that all over him. I've seen a lot bigger whoopings. To be fair, I've seen a lot bigger whoopings. There was a few clean shots that landed. Couldn't have been that clean because he wasn't out. Both times, he was there or thereabouts. That makes sense. He wasn't like, ah. It was a political, yeah, I see how this is going. Which I get it. Rationally, we can say we understand why he didn't want no more. But it's not the right thing to do, at the end of the day. Well, he didn't have the tools. I think that's more. He didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know what he was doing in there, honestly. He didn't know what he was doing. It's kind of, that's crazy. He didn't have a clue what he was doing, honestly. Mad. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, people. But the fact Don is shilling it, he has to kind of do it, but he's trying to argue for his job here. But it is what it is. Smash the like button, subscribe, like off the bell, 100%. There's no doubt about this. Some people stop it. But